Hopefully everybody's doing well, doing good. Yep, just coming back to wrap up the Rapture report. That's right. Coming back to wrap up the Rapture report. Yes, indeed. So, of course, you probably already seen if you've been on TikTok of all things. I know it's really been TikTok, which has been the platform of choice for the Rapture evangelicals. Uh, they have been the ones, especially particularly, of course, the gentleman by the name of Joshua. I can't pronounce his last name, but he was the one, one of the ones that was, or the main one that was out there. And I guess, and it caught spread like wildfire. I guess to his point, when he put out, oh, it's starting to rain. I'm gonna get up underneath this dugout. I'm actually over at the baseball field, so let me run in here right quick, family. Hang on. It's starting to rain a little bit. So okay, there we go. But yeah, but he was one of the ones, family, that he put out this whole September 23rd, September 24th, as far as like this being the days of the rapture, that the church would be raptured up. And and we saw how people were selling their houses, their cars, giving away their life savings. People were uh, getting so-called confirmations on license plates. That's how they were getting their confirmations. They'd be driving around and then they would say, "Oh, Lord Jesus, if this is what you would have me to do, show me a license plate that has home in it." And they would see a license plate that would have home in it, and that would be his or hers confirmation, that was indeed what was prophesied, what was said. But unfortunately, as time has come and gone, the 23rd has come and gone, the 24th has come and gone. And I didn't want to wait until the last minute, just in case, just so that they won't say that, "Hey, brother Bernard, we still got some time left. You selling us short. We still got some time left." Like, dog, it's the 25th. It's all done now. So I know, like I said, if you was on TikTok, you've probably already seen a lot of the apology videos that have gone forth. There's been a lot of apology videos. Of course, some people are making light of it, or fun of it. I know I would. Because I mean, there's this whole history aspect of it, family, that we talked about before. That's being that's ignored. When it comes to church history, uh, church history in particular. A lot of church history gets swept underneath the rug, and it ends up giving people a tainted, corrupt view of who the people of the book are and prophecy. Of course, I keep telling people, if you get the people of the book wrong, you are definitely going to get prophecy wrong for sure, 100%. So, and that was the case this go round too. So I know they're looking for that brother Joshua. He's in South Africa. They're waiting on him to do an apology video. He's supposed to be on the on that show, South African show called the Scent Twins. I believe that's the name of the show. They invited him back. It's either today or tomorrow. So one of those days, he's supposed to be on there, and we'll see what he says, because if you look at his previous videos. I mean, he was sure. He said it was happening 1,000%. He wasn't going to be here. You know, there was no uncertainty in his voice whatsoever. He said that he saw the Heavenly Father with his own eyes. To me, I know that was a red flag when I heard him say that. It's like, you saw the Most High with your own eyes. Would say, no man have seen the Most High, but you saw him. He said, I have seen the Most High with my own eyes. That's what he said. So it's like I said, not to make fun of the brother, but he put himself out there, and it's a blessing that we're in the time that we are in, because had this been the time in 30 AD, during the time of the Messiah, or before, the BC times, if a prophet, so if a person came out and prophesied like that and it proved to be wrong, You know what was supposed to happen to him? He was supposed to get stoned. We're not in that day and age now, so don't nobody go and even think about doing that. But I'm just saying that people are able to get away with it, or people are able to they're more often than not uh, feel inclined to prophesy or put a word out there because there's no repercussions. You just got to do a follow up "I'm sorry" video, and then that's it. Well, back in the day, you couldn't do that. Back in the day, that it would literally cost you your life if you did something like that. So, so we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that, family. And like I was telling you, family, yesterday, for those of you all that saw the live yesterday, or I guess it was the yesterday or day before yesterday. I guess it was yesterday. But I was saying that there's a lot of history that's missing, which is causing the church to misinterpret prophecy, misinterpret scriptures. And a lot of it has to do with Israel. A lot of it has to do with, this, what we call replacement theology, right? And one of the points I was making yesterday was like replacement theology was violent. It wasn't some sort of discussion. It was violent. It was swords and hanging and burning people at church on Sunday morning in ceremonies called like the alto de fe. It's either at church or the city square. That was the two places where they had those ceremonies. And and of course you also had the crusades where people, I mean, you just had folks mobbing. I mean, they were going raging across the land and cleansing the land of so-called church heresy, aka the Israelites. And this was an war of the church against the Israelites. This was an open war against the Gentile, what I call the Gentile church, against the Israelites, the Greek Gentiles. I put it to you that way because I think there's also um, some variances in there as well. But in either case, family, you know, people forget that Constantine it was Emperor Constantine, Emperor Constantine. And the first time ever you had an emperor, he sat himself at the seat of the church. He called himself the vicar of Christ, which means the replacement of Christ. Come on now, and y'all following that? And some people might say, well, no, no, Brother Benai, see, you get me confused. I'm Baptist, I'm Episcopal, right? I'm Protestant. I don't do that. But it's one of those things, family, where if you go to a family tree, right? If you go to one of those genealogical tables and you kind of go down, you start at the top and you go down, or even if you start at present day and you go backwards, right? At some point in time, the Protestant branch stops and merges into the Catholic branch. And it merges into the Pope, and it merges into the Pontificus Maximus, or the Vicar of Christ, right? And that is actually what what whose doctrine is being exercised as being, as because they are the trunk of the tree. And the Protestants and the Baptists and stuff like that, they are the branches um, off of the tree, right? Off the branches off of the trunk. And so people say, well, we worship on, we changed the Sabbath day to Sunday. It was changed from Saturday to Sunday. It wasn't, and they say that as if it was some sort of discussion, like some sort of discussion that they sat and they had, and they thought it out, and it was came to pass and stuff like that. It was violent. It was violent. I actually brought my laptop, but let me see if I can pull it up. But I brought my laptop because what I wanted you to see is there are verses in there that show you that, and this is like in the book called the Inquisition, where in this book called the Inquisition, this one was written in 1733, and it literally shows you the stance of the church against the Israelites. So not only against the Israelites, but anyone that was practicing that doctrine, what they would do is that they would go out and they would look for anybody that was observing the Shabbat, Sabbath, whatever you want to call it. They would look out for anybody that was observing the laws, statutes, and commandments. You know how nowadays it's a discussion about, oh, the laws are done away with, right? And people don't know the history behind that. The history behind that was that they were going around murking folks. Who? The church was. The church at the time was going around murking folks, unaliving people for observing the laws, statutes, and commandments. They were burning them at church on Sunday morning or burning them on the city square on Sunday morning as part of a sermon, a service, and it was called an alto de fe. What was it called? It was called an alto de fe. So again, family. So this wasn't something that was that just came about through discussion or some physiological or uh, some sort of educational uh, discernment or anything like that. This was a violent um, implementation of a doctrine. That's all it was. And because we are on this side of the island or this side of the ocean, and we had the transatlantic slave trade, and of course, we can't here. I know there's some folks that believe different. But we're gonna save that for another day. But we came across here on the transatlantic slave trade, and we literally adopted the religions of the slave master. So the slave master was Protestant. Guess what? Slaves were Protestant. The slave master was Baptist. Guess what? You were Baptist, and it impacted everything, and it impacted the way that you worshipped. So right now, today, you go into churches today, many of the folks are sitting down, how you sit down in the chairs in a rows in a certain arrangement. That was adopted, or we learned that from the slave masters. They taught us that, right? And they also taught us Sunday worship. They also taught us the law, statutes, and commandments being done away with. So that's all it is, family. And then, of course, like I said, that the replacement theology aspect of it, where now you have Roman, descendants of Roman Christians are now, leading the church. They are the head, um, um, you know, rulership, governing arm of the church. And the point that I made early was that like that had never ever been done. Like anytime you look in the scriptures from start to finish, from Genesis to Revelations, at in every single book, the head leadership team of the church was all Israelites. All of them. Israelites. The decisions that were made, the books to be kept that were, considered doctrine and not doctrine, it was 100% all Israelites, every last one of them. And it wasn't until after the Messiah had died and was resurrected that, and that after the Roman emperor took over, that's when everything changed. That's when everything changed. So this is one of those, like I said, that's one of those things that the folks in the church have to realize, because until they do that, they're going to keep getting things like the rapture mixed up, because the rapture was for this really the regathering of Israel. So Israel today is scattered among, like the Messiah said, is scattered. Like right before the Messiah was, um, he left this world and went to be with the Father. He prophesied and told us that Israel, or the house of Judah, would go into captivity. Like they would be persecuted, then that they would go into captivity into all the nations of the earth. And that's one of the things that I tell people. Is like there's only one people on planet Earth that have gone into captivity into all the nations of the earth, and that is the tribe or the house of Judah, which is Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, and some of those other tribes that were cleaving to the house of Judah at that time. And so I got to tell you, family, it's just kind of like just one of those things, family, where you have to know who the children of Israel are in order to get your prophecy straight. I guess that's and try not to go into a long dissertation about what to do to figure out this prophecy, but you gotta know that figure that out. Messiah said they'd be scattered to all the corners of the earth in captivity into slavery. There was only one people on the planet that did that, and that's us. And also, you also have to know that the children of Israel, they weren't unmelanated people. They were a dark skinned people, and there's a lot of science behind that. I mean, there's science, there's DNA, of course, uh, and not to get into the science and the nitty gritty details right now, but I would say just if you get a chance, just check out biblicalisraelites.com. That's biblicalisraelites.com. That'll be a good starting point for you, so that you'll be able to see with your own eyes who the children of Israel are, what they look like, right? And what we have on that page, or what I have on the page, is depictions of Israel from like around 701 BC, right? The depiction of Israel around 701 BC. I believe the relief was actually created around 680 BC or something like that. But in either case, family, if you go there, you'll be able to see with yourself, with your own eyes, what the children look like, right? And they don't look like, surfer guys with long stringy hair and little Goldilocks and stuff like that. No, those are the replacements. So, but anyway, but yeah, family, I just wanted to come out here real quick and just to let you know that Rapture is come and gone, and nobody got took. Unfortunately, people lost a lot of, you know, personal goods. They lost their houses and cars and stuff like that because they were misled. And like I was just explaining, like there is a risk of this happening again if people don't know who the true children of Israel are today. And that even goes for the present day church, the current day church, even our brothers and sisters of African American descent. They will also keep getting it wrong until they figure out who the true children of Israel, are today, right? So, but that's about it, family. I got to get out of here. I got some errands to run, but yeah, just wanted to come to you real quick and just kind of wrap up the whole rapture nonsense that they were doing, family. Yeah, it was crazy. It was just interesting, entertaining to watch, to see the certainty of which they were giving those prophecies, and to see the lengths that people were going to try to to show that they believe, right. They were unlocking their phones and doing all this other crazy stuff, only in the end to for it to show that it wasn't going to happen. It wasn't going to happen. The rapture is a regathering of children of Israel. Our forefathers were teaching that from the very beginning, from even during the time of slavery. You know what some of the Negro spirituals that our forefathers sung? They swung. I mean, they sang, sweet, swing low, sweet chariot, swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me home. That's the rapture. That's the rapture. Our forefathers knew about that rapture. Swing low, sweet chariots, coming forth to carry me home. We knew it back then, and we should know it now. But all right, family, I'm getting out of here. I'm actually running late. So catch up with you later. And hopefully drop another video later this weekend. We'll see. We'll see. It's a busy weekend. All right. So peace and blessings. Love you, family. All right. Talk to you later. Shalom.